It's been around just over 3 months, yet it's still a relatively unknown quantity. And well, we haven't seen it on the show as yet either, have we? The Mitsubishi Pajero Sport is the latest launch from the Japanese company through its local Hindustan Motors tie-up. The second generation SUV draws on what Mitsubishi is known for: good, capable four-wheel drives and some rallying DNA. The result is a typical Pajero, rough, ready and a bit of a rogue. The Pajero Sport is based on the Triton pickup truck, which means it has a ladder-on-frame chassis and is not monocoque, like say a Duster or even an XUV 500, which is in keeping with the likes of its contemporaries, the Toyota Fortuner for instance. In fact, like the Fortuner, which is also based on a pickup truck, the Pajero Sport was also designed specifically for the Southeast Asian region. But we are getting it about 4 years after its regional launch. This vehicle shouldn't be confused with the global Pajero though, which we have in its second and fourth generation avatars here in India, also selling alongside. The second gen is the 1991 vintage, while the more recent one is what we call the Montero in our market. So the second generation has been around since 2008. The Pajero Sport badging kind of tiny at the back, and remember it's called Challenger in some other markets, also called Montero Sport in the Philippines market. The point, it is based on the Triton pickup, and so which is why you get this ladder on frame, very obvious kind of a build quality. Look at this gap. I mean, that is huge. That holds the promise of some pretty good off-roading and good maneuverability over really bad broken roads. What it does for handling, we'll find out in just a bit. But the face, fairly attractive. I'm not sure that it's going to definitely get in a lot of fans just based on looks, but while it is exactly like the Triton pickup, again, what I do like is that once again the ride height is nice and tall, and the hood itself is relatively short compared to some of the SUVs like the Fortuner, etc. And why that helps is because you can actually turn out of tricky parking spots, etc. with much greater ease, which for a vehicle this size is pretty admirable. The face has been borrowed from the Pajero Evo rally car, and while it ain't pretty, it's different alright. The awkward height though is still balanced. Inside, the cabin feels just about as fresh as a Backstreet Boys song, meaning that the look, fit and feel belong in the late 90s. But the quality of the cabin is good. The dash is basic with smart climate control knobs borrowed from the Outlander, electric mirrors and driver seat, a tilt steering, parking sensors, ABS and airbags are also standard. The music system is adequate, the seats are roomy enough, there is 3-row air conditioning along the roof, and third row of pop-up seats are better left collapsed to create more boot space, though they will be comfy enough for short rides. The Pajero Sport has a 2.5-litre turbocharged diesel engine with a smart 175 horses and a nice throaty 400 Nm of torque. The transmission is 5-speed manual, but it would have been brilliant to have a 6-speed in here. It's almost too growly, this engine, but I didn't think it held much promise when I saw the numbers, assuming the fact that despite the high VHP figure there, you know, it's just going to end up being a little underpowered compared to the competition. But it does surprise you because not only is the power delivery nice and satisfying, but the shorter gearing actually helps to overcome some of the lag, and I think that's been smartly done by the engineers at Mitsubishi. So it ends up being a pretty good, fun ride with the vehicle actually responding to your needs fairly well. Now, the suspension was, of course, looking very obviously tuned towards off-roading, and so I again didn't have very great expectations to the on-road characteristics. Again, I'm happy to be a little bit surprised there because it ends up being a fairly comfortable ride. So of course, given the ladder-on-frame chassis, there is a fair amount of body roll. Yeah, so despite the anti-roll bars at both ends, there is roll. But you know that when you see the SUV for the first time, well before you ride it. Overall, though, the suspension is very solid, and I was particularly impressed with its great ride capability despite its height when I took it off-road. The four-wheel drive can be engaged in high or low modes on the fly, and yes, you can also lock the differential in. The Pajero Sport has a go-anywhere character that makes it nimble, fun, responsive and ready for any challenge. So what's the catch? The old gen feel? Nope. The poor HM Mitsubishi network or brand presence? Nope. It's the price. You'd have gotten a great feeling from this story if the Pajero Sport had been a real steal, right? But at nearly 24.5 lakh rupees ex-showroom, the Pajero Sport is expensive. Take the Toyota Fortuner for instance. Its variants top off at 22 lakh rupees, and that includes the 4x4 and the auto option as well. Now, why would Mitsubishi do that to its already meager prospects in India? So the hardcore off-roader and the Mitsubishi fan will buy this car. Others, well, will settle for a lot less, which costs a lot less too. So I don't expect to see many of these on our roads anytime soon, which is a bit of a pity.
India's #1 news app just got even better. Download NDTV's new app. Fully optimized for retina display. Full screen view. Faster response time. And Sudoku. NDTV's new iPad app. Download now.